All right, it says we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome. Thanks for showing up. And today, I just want to take a minute to introduce the panel for anybody that I hear somebody's got me in the background there, pretty loud. Is it gone yet? Nope.
Nope. Make sure it's not me. Let me see. Nope. No, not me.
It's usually YouTube that's on when it does that. Well,
Is it yours, Doug?
We'll figure it out in a minute. It's still going. So the panel on the bottom row, kind of below me, is Susie Q Aquatics, and she just finished streaming, and she finally got her coffee. I'm glad to see. She was begging for coffee throughout her stream. And there's Dee Dee. Dee Dee spins and things. And these guys have their Mafia names up. So Susie Softail, Dee Dee Guns, and
I forgot to change my name.
Dee Dee's been promoted to production or producer for all the technical work she's doing. And Pam is Punchy Paints. So, and her name is Sketchy because she's an artist. No, and then Aquaria Love, Stephanie. What's your Mafia name, Stephanie?
I don't know. I think we were doing Nurse Shark, but I'm not that popular, so I figured people don't know who I am if I come up with
Nurse Shark. Well, that's Aquaria Life Stephanie. She's hiding under her hat in the dark there.
She's in witness protection.
I'm a bad hair day. Bad hair. Here, does this look better? Watch this one. Really?
By all means, yeah.
Very
really in witness
mafioso.
protection.
Very mafioso, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And then Mr. Furlow, Eric Furlow, is Furlow the hatchet fish. Everybody knows Eric. He keeps everything. And then between Eric and I is Chris Stubbs Aquatics. And he is our guest today. We're real excited to have him on. And he's going to talk about his ponds and some other things with us. So I'm really excited to have him. And he prepared a video for us. But I'm going to just bring him up by himself, just throw him under the bus, and let him decide how he wants to proceed. And Dee Dee's going to assist him with the video and stuff, assist all of us with that. But real quickly, welcome everybody in the chat, and thank you moderators for being here and doing such an awesome job. And a lot of you are on the stream, are on the panel, so doing double and triple duty. So awesome group. All right, Chris, I'm going to bring you up if I don't push the wrong button. Yay.
I was pushing buttons.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Stubbs from Stubbs Aquatics. I live in a great big old town called Lindsay, Ontario, Canada. Population of 5, probably about 25,000. I was a cop this way for 30 plus years. I retired about 8 years ago. Had a real problem with it on the job because I was a sex assault investigator that on small children that I got some undiagnosed PTSD and I suffered from anxiety and depression. So I decided I'd start building some ponds in the backyard to hopefully help with my insomnia and my depression and anxiety. That over 25 to 30 years led into a lot of ponds, in fact, the entire backyard, and a couple of fish rooms. I still suffer a bit from anxiety and depression. Unfortunately, I can't take any medication for depression because that all leads to suicidal thoughts. So that's out. So I have really had to find something that worked for me. And being that the water seemed to calm me down and grounded me, that's why I have all the fish tanks and aquarium rooms and then all the ponds just to, get me to my happy place, so to speak. I'll be more than happy to talk about anything for fish related, police related, or mental health related. I'm not shy about talking about any of them. I want to thank everyone for allowing me up on this great stage. I know most of you, and I'll be really happy to check out some of the other ones here, and really nice to meet a few of you as well. So that's about it for me. Other than that, I've got 2 great kids that are grown up and live quite a ways away, and I have 2 grandsons. Now you've got my exciting story of my life. Is anyone still here? Is anyone still awake?
Oh yeah. And Chris and I talked quite a bit while we were setting up the stream and stuff after Dee Dee helped us do that, and talked quite a bit. And, you know, we shared with each other about having depression and anxiety. And I'm lucky I can take medications without having the suicidal thoughts. So, but I do find that my tanks and pets, and they do have a calming effect. And, you know, water for many centuries has been used to take people. They take people by water and suggest they walk by water. And, you know, it does have a calming effect. That's been known forever. So we just naturally gravitate to it. And I focused on ponds because he moves a lot of his stuff outside, being in Canada in the summer. But he does have some tanks up, so we might see those too. So when you're ready to show the video and talk about that, I'll bring it up.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Welcome. And sorry for not adding the stubbings on.
That's all right. Stubbs.
I'm so used to talk. I've known Chris for 2 or 3 years since he's been on YouTube. All right. I'm not seeing it back there. I don't see the video.
You want me to play it, Bob?
He said he did.
You want me to play it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want me to leave the volume on or off?
You can put the volume on. I talked through it, and if anyone has any questions, I can answer them later. How's that?
Right. All right.
So you don't want to stop it? All right. Well, just remember, we'll keep up with questions. I don't know what we'd do without Dee Dee.
A lot more.
We wouldn't have a video, that's for sure. All right, here we go.
And the rest will all be going off to a local fish store. These are some what I call our Tobies. There's some extra large goldfish fry that were eating their brothers and sisters. So. And then this is my microfish room that is all going to be taken down. All the fish in here are going. These guys are all going to a local fish store, as I have already lots of those. This is my 55-gallon. Got some young Odessa Barbs in there, along with about 7 or 8 checker barb and some cherry barbs. There's also some zebra danios and 2 Lacostimus. It's a pretty good tank. They're all pretty active fish. And so far, they've left my plants alone, which I'm really happy about.
Nice.
This is my built-in-the-wall 55-gallon tank.
Oh, I
that
love
you'll
it.
see on some of my
Me
videos.
too.
Nice.
And this is my main fish room. Of course, Marty's got to be here.
Oh,
As you
puppy.
can see, it's all torn down. I do keep water in it and the water moving, and as many sponges as I can. Those are all my Shubumpkin tanks
over the
all the
season, just so
Shubumpkin
when I go to fish back,
Okay.
all the beneficial bacteria are still there. I plan on making some huge changes to the fish room again. The only tank that's really up and running is my main, I guess you'd call it a show tank right now. Forgive my voice, just trying to get it back after basically losing it for a week and a half with this lovely cold that's gone around. And here are my Odessa Barbs and my Aurelius Barbs. This is a planted tank, and I'm really enjoying this. Never really had a true planted tank before.
Nice, DD. Nice piece of wood. Nice.
Even got water lilies growing in there,
Only you.
and they've all done all this on their own. So
They sure are some pretty
really
fish.
well. I can't complain about
Those
it at all.
those Odessas are beautiful.
They are.
Well, I'm going to take you outside. to see
What's the
what-
ones with the?
Really
Is that checkerboard or what is those ones with the
Those
black?
are really barbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll come to my first pond.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, nice.
This is a breeding pond that I have bumpkin fry in. You're going to have to look pretty careful.
They're really hard to see right now, but once you get seeing them, there's hundreds and hundreds in there.
There's quite a few in here. As in, there's probably a few hundred or more. Going to give them a bit of maybe brine shrimp. You should see some movement going on now. And there's quite a size change in this group. So
That's awesome.
It's crazy. It's like once you see one, you
in a
start seeing
few
them
weeks
all.
you should see a lot
Yeah.
more, as in they'll be a lot bigger. And they'll
Got to
start
train the
growing.
eye.
There they come.
And this is all from one female.
Now these are koi, right?
No,
Or
those
they
are
just goldfish?
pumpkins. They're goldfish.
Okay.
From here, we'll go on to the next pond.
And these guys decided to be shy on the one day I'm filming.
This pond I use to
That's a beautiful pond.
grow up
It's a little wee dinky pond. I said
smaller
dinky.
pumpkins.
Yeah,
It's not
dinky
very
work
big. It's only
sometimes.
6 feet round and about 2.5 feet deep.
Me too, Silver Creek. Getting good ideas from this video.
See if we can get some up. Now there is a couple adults in here. Most of them are fry though. Or not fry, but last year's spawn that I'm trying to grow up. For some reason they're being a little bit shy today. I'm not sure why.
Right. I kept about 8 from last
I
year.
have already fed them
And they're
once.
in that pond.
We'll come back to them.
The rest went to the local fish store.
This is a part of my vegetable garden. I use all the wastewater from the ponds to grow raspberries, peppers, carrots, you name it.
Nice.
Over here, back
Fish
in here,
food.
I've got another
Where I
small
keep my
little
rosy barbs.
micropond, and I just have
And I let that water
Barbs in
intentionally
there.
green up because there's fry in it.
These barbs
Nice.
really
They
can't see
give them
very
lots
well
to
in
eat.
this, but they'll breed really well in it, and they prefer that kind of gunky looking water.
Oh, nice.
This is
And that's
part
a
of,
little pond, he
my
says.
pond
Wow.
system.
Yeah, that one's about 6 feet deep.
If you have a bridge, it's not a little
This
pond.
pond here
There's a couple
is
bridges.
6 feet deep. It's not overly big. It's probably only about 11 or 12 feet in length and about 8 to 10 feet in width.
Beautiful.
It's
Nice
fed from a
pond.
stream here that comes down from my filters. It's got a bog filtration in it as well. Bog filtration is basically just a planted area that'll catch a lot of the debris and wastewater.
So I'll keep a lot of
Water
arrowheads.
flows out into the main pond,
Irises
and we'll
up
get to
above.
that in just a few minutes. Just take you through the rest of the backyard. As you'll notice, everything is deck. Yeah, staining is not that much fun. As you see, I've got some filters here. Some are homemade, some are purchased.
Nice.
Try
Cool.
to do as much as I can on my own, just to keep down the cost of everything. And I pump quite a few 100 gallons an hour through all these systems. There's a skimmer box.
Okay.
I plan on moving that next year.
I am officially jealous of your backyard.
You can see one of the streams
That
there.
took me over 25 years to build.
Wow.
Nice. Nice.
A little bit at a time. And that was all with a pickaxe and shovel.
That's
And
amazing.
like I said, this is my main pond.
I'm amazed that the vegetation's so lush and green already with the
Currently,
short
we
growing
missed
season.
a big, huge bloom of lilies. Just didn't time that one right.
Yeah,
This
we just
pond
missed
is
a
about
big
4
big
feet
bloom
deep
of
at
lilies
the deepest.
by about 3-4 days.
Right down
Unfortunately,
below us, you can see
Wow.
that's only about 3 feet deep. So my plan is to make this deeper next year. That's just safer for the koi. I'd like to be able to make part of it 6 feet deep, if I can. I've got a few tropical plants over here and another filter system. Not sure if you could see the falls here or not.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
yet that comes from another pond.
decided to join a couple ponds
They all
last year.
connect
So
into this main pond here. And that was the idea, is that I wanted all of my ponds to connect.
You said you're in Canada?
yep. Well, can never afford a cottage, so this is our cottage.
You see that's pretty good
Hey.
flow rate.
Beautiful. Staycation.
Pretty much.
And it comes out into this other pond here.
I'd never
First
leave
for
that
the
back
voice,
there.
guys. This one's a little bit more than 3 feet deep. And it's a little bit more than 6 foot round. And I've currently got some young koi in there now. And above that is yet another pond, and it's
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, that's my bog
a bog
filtration.
pond. It's
All the
a
plants do
bog
all the work for you.
filtration, and it does a pretty good job of cleaning the water, especially with all the iris and arrowheads, and there's some lilies up there too. As you can see, this flows out pretty good into the pond here. I'll just walk across. Hopefully we won't go for a swim. I try to grow as many vegetables as I can, obviously. So these are my potatoes. I grow where I can, and apparently a lot of them are ready for harvesting. I've got some microponds here, and these are just barrels that I cut the top off, and then I've screened them part way down, so the adults can't get down all the way to the bottom. You can see the screen there.
Uh-huh.
So in this small micropond, I've got gold barbs, and I'm hoping they'll breed in this.
Now, what are you
In this
screening for?
micropond,
Oh,
there's
so
another
the
barrel
eggs
I've
can
done the
drop.
same system.
So the eggs can fall and
A
not
little
get
bit
eaten by the
Yeah,
thing.
I gotcha.
And there's 6 Odessa Barbs in there. I have seen a couple fry, and hopefully they made their way back down to the bottom where it's screened in and the parents can't eat them. Just give everyone a good feed here in a second. It's quite a system that I have to do to feed every fish a couple times a day, especially the fry. Take you up top here to the top deck. And I'm not sure with this kind of view we're going to get. I shouldn't have been filming right at noon.
That looks good to me.
Yeah, me too.
But if I move this, you should see lots of fry.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at them all.
Now they're all from one
There's
female.
lots there.
Wow.
Wow, what kind of fish
So
are
these
they?
guys will
She puts out Dee Dee.
Yeah.
get lots of
I thought I'd beat you to the punch.
baby brine shrimp.
Hofish. Now,
We'll
how are
actually
you
save some of the baby brine
filtering that blue tank?
Just in case there are some
One
fry
filter.
at the bottom. Of
Do you
these,
have air?
microphones.
Do you have filters in it? What do you have?
Sponge filter and a bubbler.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Hey,
And then
Chris.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. What are all your floaters? I had to disappear for a minute for work because I got a call from a patient. But what are all your floaters other than the hornwort that's making it in that direct sun?
I'll get some
Lilies,
movement.
arrowheads, and then arrowheads aren't floaters, but there's arrowheads in there. And then there's also some
these guys.
water lettuce.
They've
Okay.
been really shy this year. Give you a bit of a view from up top here.
Wow.
So pretty.
I never
is the
thought to
bunkie.
use a big tall tub.
They have at the
I
back
love
of the
the
property.
rope railing. Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God.
kind of got a makeshift bed on there and a couch and a little wee space heater for those cool evenings. It's a great
It's cool.
spot to go relax, read a book, have a nap.
Oh,
I remember when you opened that when you had snow, I think.
The biggest coin
I like going out there in the winter.
is probably
Yeah.
the black and white one there. It's only about 16 inches long.
Now, did they stay in the pond all
Pretty
winter?
small yet.
Those do, yeah.
Pretty young. Oldest is about 3.5 years old.
Get a couple feet of ice, and then after that, they're okay.
Oh, those fish fry in that blue
Biggest one in here
barrel.
is
What were they?
probably,
Shabunkins,
12 to 14 inches.
Okay.
they'll all be brought in,
Yeah, these are
raised
all
up over the
done.
winter and sold off. I'll keep 6
Some
or
of them
8
only done one winter
for
outside.
future stock.
And with this one being 6 foot deep, there isn't a problem.
The deck is huge.
Well, that's pretty much it for the tour, guys. Apparently, most of my shabunkins, oops,
Oh, sorry, it's other legs.
give you a
Good
leg
thing you
show
had
here.
pants on,
Are a little
Right.
bit shy
Yeah.
today.
not
Flip
running around in
flops
a
and Crocs.
speedo.
Sure why?
Yeah, I don't think you're ready for that.
So I really like that flower box that you were using
That's the
as a
case, I'll just-
waterfall.
Bring the net back over and
Oh, thanks.
not have to worry about anything. But they ate up all the food, so they can't be too shy.
I think some of them start coming out here. And again, they're
They're
just
pretty much used
yeah.
to being fed at early in the morning.
Now,
and
does your
then
deck ever
right
get wet if
before
it
the
have bad storms?
you can
Uh,
see some of the coloration
Like
on
flooding
some of
wet
them
from
now.
the underneath?
No.
They're really growing well.
no, because it's raised pretty
And
high.
one last glimpse
Okay.
at some of these fry here.
Now I have to stain it every other year. I didn't feel like staining it again this year because that's a couple day event.
Right. Wow, I bet it was.
It's not a lot of fun.
Again, the light just
And there's no
just
cost
right
to it
for
at
you to
all.
see them.
Price of stain these days.
And of course, I don't have a polarized lens, so
Mhm.
I can't really do much about giving you a better view. But believe me when I say there are a lot in there.
You need to get a GoPro to go underneath that water so we can see.
I know, right?
So you'll have to definitely
Well,
check
in
back.
future
for the
videos, you will
summer.
see them. Trust me.
Okay.
Well, thanks for taking the tour with me.
Oh, I thought that was a
anything
snake
else
for a
I
second.
have to show, or I could show, is
No,
the side of my house where I have all my tomatoes, plants, more peppers, and believe it or not, corn on the cob on the side of the house. That again, I just pump wastewater from the ponds to feed them because we try to use every bit of the property we have. Why not maximize everything you have, right?
Hmm.
And we certainly do. Well, thanks for taking the tour with me, everyone. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have.
It's wonderful.
hopefully it didn't bore you too bad there.
Not in the least. Oh my God.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
That was so much fun. I love that. That's why I was quiet. I wanted to hear everything,
Mhm.
see everything.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Well,
I've got-
you know
I've got
that too,
questions.
that your backyard didn't get built in a day either. So
Not in the
Right.
least. And that's funny. This is perfect timing because I'm starting off with a small 8x8 deck, floating deck
Yep.
on the ground, heading out to the pond. And you gave me so many amazing ideas. And I'm doing 8x8 so that I can add another 8x8
Yep.
and then another and another.
Yep. That's what we did.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
It's
Do
just
you
beautiful.
have problems with like animals trying to get in the pond and get the fish at all, like raccoons or anything like that?
I get raccoons, but the ponds go straight in, and they really don't stand a chance.
Right.
I get herons, or used to, but the way I put the fencing around the pond now, that's to keep the grandkids safe and to keep the herons out.
Okay.
Because the herons need a spot to land, and they only will walk into a pond. They won't actually land in a pond.
Right. Yeah, because like anybody that has ponds around where I live, like I mean, you'll see like they have a fence around it, and
Yeah.
like netting over it, or like fishing line crisscrossing, so nothing can get in there. You know.
Well, I had fishing line wrapped around 1 year. This is going back a dozen years or so. I'll backtrack. One really bad winter, I was moving the water around in the koi pond, and the water got diverted, so I lost about 2 feet of water, and I virtually lost all my fish. Well, I did lose all my fish. It took me years and years before I put koi back in. But back to the issue with koi a dozen years ago, herons were getting in, and so I wrapped around the outside fishing line. Well, my wife wakes me up, crack of dawn, and 5:36. Hear this awful squawking, and sure enough, I caught a heron. Well, I run outside with just a smile and a t-shirt on, and I wasn't thinking clearly. I run out to this damn thing, and it's flapping at me, beak's about yay long. Little Stubbs not that long at all, and it's really coming after me. I didn't think this thing through at all. So luckily for both of us, it got away. I kept Little Stub intact, and the thing never came back. I don't know if it was he's got PSD, severe trauma issues.
Like I remember.
I'm surprised
that.
wildlife didn't come after you for doing heron baiting.
That's
Why
crazy.
are we always yelling? Said you turned your depression into something amazing.
Mhm.
Very true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very, very cool.
I loved hearing all that water movement. A lot of people, it gets on their nerves if they listen to it all the time. To me, it's just so nice.
And
I wanna go jump in your ponds right now.
Go ahead.
So Chris, you said you were
Pam's
trying
little
to
skinny
get-
dip.
You said you were trying to get your ponds connected. I know the troubles that I have with certain filters on certain ponds, or not,
Yep.
maybe not filters, but the pumps moving them from one area to the other, and keeping that specifically accessible. It's so hard for me. How are you managing all those different?
Levels?
Yeah,
It's really not that hard, because you're joining them, right? I don't actually glue them together or anything like that, because you're just asking for a disaster.
okay.
So different levels, you can play with the liner and then go over top with the other liner, and it just goes in. So you don't have to pump one to the other. You have pumps from the main pond go to your other ponds and then come back in through gravity. I don't lose water that way. I'm allowed, you can filter extra that way. You're not using extra electricity. So, yeah, like
Okay.
when you can't sleep and you're up all night, you come up with these stupid ideas.
Well, I'm trying. I come up with these great ideas, and just applying them seems to be a lot harder.
Well, I finally learned to start writing these things down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I knew I had a great idea last night. I just don't know what it was. And it wasn't
Yeah.
chasing after a heron naked either. That was
Right.
not a good idea.
I have to do the same thing. I keep it close by because if I don't write it down, it disappears. Might think of it next year when I don't need it.
Right.
But
Dee Dee.
Chewy had asked
That's what I was going to go to. Thank you, Dee Dee.
that if around the depression part, if you could not keep fish due to per se a disability, what else would you turn to since antidepressants don't work for you?
If
You
I
couldn't
could,
do your fish.
well, I mean, I've got a very supportive family, right? My wife, luckily, does not suffer from this, and it took her a while to understand it, but she totally gets it. She can see it in my eyes if, that the anxiety is coming on, or if she sees me starting to yawn. That doesn't mean I'm tired. It means I'm going to have an anxiety attack. And for me, anxiety attacks are very painful. It's like someone's pushing a metal rod through your back. Your heart is racing. You feel like you're at the edge of a cliff and someone just gave you a push. Well, that's like me all day long, all night long. So you're just exhausted, right? And you're not, the first few times you go to the hospital thinking you're having a heart attack, you're not. They realize later it's not a panic attack. So what else would I would do if I didn't have tanks? Well, luckily I have a dog and my family. If not, I think I'd turn to plants.
Yeah.
Something for me with nature calms me down, because when I'm having anxiety attacks, my senses generally go into overload, as in anything moving is way too fast. Anything audible is way too loud, but it's muffled. It's really loud, but it's muffled. When I was at work and we had a real, hot call, I was fine because you're super focused. It's the quieter times that got me, and that's when I had to find something.
No snakes, huh? No reptiles?
Well, again, I have this relationship with my wife. About the snake reptiles in, I may not have a relationship with my wife, which may cause more anxiety and depression.
Okay.
Twender Aquatics, he also asked, I say he, how do you keep the grandchildren out of the pond?
Right.
Well, keep a really good eye on. And Cherry or Twender has an amazing pond system. His backyard is phenomenal, beautiful.
Who?
Yeah, you got to check him out.
Did you guys hear?
We keep our grandkids really close by, teach them to swim at a very early age, and teach them to respect the water.
Right.
I think Terry, he's what he said. Twender, I think it's Terry. I think.
Oh, okay.
I also have a smaller pond, like you called them, a micropond, maybe 200 gallons, and they have their own nets, so they can go fish, bullfish kind of thing. Like that's their pond to play in, and they don't play in the other ponds.
Yeah,
that seems to work well. Nobody cares about going swimming in it because they keep them nice and much.
The grandkids actually, well, they really like the ponds, but they like the fish tanks even more. And there's a couple that are open, and they can stick their hands in the water.
Yeah.
And the shabumpkins really don't care. So, and they'll come and suck on their fingers, and they don't care. They're not like
I know. If that was at my house, we'd have had some Paw Patrol toys in the bottom of it, by all means.
Well, my daughter built a fairy garden off to one of the ponds I made. I went out there one day and there was like a little Tinkerbell and there were swing sets and there was no people allowed. And I'm looking, I'm like, and it went intricate for almost like 14, 16 inches. I was like, wow. So she spent a lot of time building that little fairy garden there. I left it there.
My eldest grandson, he's got one of those operated boats, so he just drives that all around the pond.
Oh, that's cool.
He just has a great old time.
Monica wants to know about the dog, more about the dog. She actually doesn't, I do, but she was saying how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an Italian sheepdog.
Beautiful.
She loves water. Her and my old dog that's no longer with us never go in the pond, but if there's a creek, a lake, a river, they were in it in a heartbeat. I've just been lucky that they stayed out of the pond, because that would be a nightmare.
Does he help keep the herring away, maybe?
Yep. And other pests like weasels.
Okay.
They'll come in.
You have problems with raccoons?
They really don't stand a chance, so they'll come around once in a while. But I don't really worry about them.
My old German Shepherd, I would have had to fish him out of those ponds every day.
Yeah.
Our raccoons are relentless here. Like they'll get in the water and swim
Yep.
around, and because I had a pond in the backyard, and unfortunately, raccoons got all
Really?
6
Oh.
of my koi. Yeah,
Yeah.
How deep was it?
it was probably. I don't think it was very deep. It was only like probably 3 feet deep, I would say.
I mean, they're a talented hunter, that's for sure.
Oh, they're
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But as long as there's
Tortoises.
they can get away and just hide from them once they realize that there's something after them,
Mhm.
they're generally okay. And once koi get up to a fair size, a raccoon can't take a 18-inch koi. So
But yeah, they're gonna have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
I can barely hang on to one if you get them in the net.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I imagine because just a little old EBA is strong when you try to catch him. I can't
I
imagine how
couldn't-
strong those fish are.
I couldn't get past how lush the plants were. Now, how do you accomplish that at this time of year in Canada that look like they've grown for 4 months to 5 months?
You grow quick here, you don't grow at all, right? Because in May we had snow. We had a couple snowstorms
In May?
in May.
Wow.
But that happens once in a while. It's usually you get snow into April, and you can get snow in October. So we only get 3-4 months of growing time. So things grow pretty quick. They'll start dying down in another month. Like the lilies, they'll start looking old and haggard. They're still getting enough sunlight, and it's still warm enough. It's just, they petered out. Just like, if you're growing potatoes, they'll hit that time that they're going for, and they're done after that. And it all depends how much rain and everything else. Like right now, it's in the high 80s, the temperature here, and it's humid as heck.
Now, do you have videos and clips of like in the middle of the winter? Like I'm
Yep.
sure some of your ponds are still moving, right?
Yep, there's a few I do in the winter, just simply because it's really hard to keep holes open in the wintertime.
Right.
So I'll keep the bubblers just, a foot or two below the surface, just to agitate it in that one spot, just so there's a good air exchange.
Mhm.
But when you get it down into the minus 30s and 40s, it's really hard to keep that open. So
Right.
I'll have to boil up water and open up the lines and open up the hole, sometimes every morning, just during the week.
Wow.
Do you ever use
Wow.
like a de-icer or heater or anything?
Well, they're about 1,500 watts, right? And it'd be too expensive for me. The hydro would because plus with those de-icers they're little heating elements, right? Yeah. And what I've noted before, I tried them before, and I started seeing my koi hanging around them.
Yeah.
And the older ones, they could burn their lips on them or
Yeah.
whatever. And you want your koi, at least up in Canada where we are, or in the northern states, you want your koi to go dormant in the winter.
Right.
You want them to go right to the bottom and then just sort of veg out for the next 5 to 7 months. Where they're using up virtually no energy, they're not eating, and they're quiet. And that's what you want them to do during the winter. If they're active during the winter, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Didn't think about that.
Oh, their metabolism slows way, way down, right? And they have no immune system once it drops below 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
What main
What-
plants
what-
do you keep in your tanks? Like your planted tanks? What plants do you really like and use?
I really like a lot of swords and crypts, but because I mainly keep barbs, I got to really be careful which plants I keep.
Yeah.
So I generally started with Anubias, and then I got some Java fern, a little bit of Java moss. They don't seem to like that as much. And believe it or not, I've got some water lilies growing in this one,
Wow.
Very cool.
and they're thriving.
Yeah, the large booses would probably do well, like King.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really pretty large boost. It's gorgeous.
I got to try that. And
Yeah.
is it pretty tough?
Yeah. It's almost like Anubias thick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's it called again?
King. Let me look it up for you. It's one of my favorite booses.
They can get a little pricey, but they sure are beautiful.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's Kedagang. Kedagang.
Okay. I'll definitely look that up. Be hard to find, but we'll find it eventually.
And you know what you could try on Boost Plants? I buy a lot of plants from Boost Plants, and they're such good quality. You get them really fast. And I actually just bought some Crypt Hooteroy from Boost Plants.
And I don't know if I could get them shipped here in Canada.
Oh, that's right. You're in Canada.
Well, the shipping would be 3 times what the plant's worth, right? So if the plant's $10, it's going to cost me $50 for the one plant.
Yeah. Let me see.
And time Customs gets a hold of you and jacks it up again.
Yep.
You gotta love those tax people.
Is Tropica's in Canada too, right?
Yep.
Oh, that is a pretty plant.
Yeah.
It's just hard to find. Like I bought some Val from actually a pond place in southern Ontario where you could buy about a dozen for $14. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. And the Val were pretty hardy, and they're actually in behind me, or somewhere. And these types of barbs have been leaving it alone so far.
Nice.
The Cory cats, or corridors, they pretty much left it alone. Now the two plecos, so.
Have you ever used any of the cultured plants, in the little gel and the cups?
Not really. Like you're talking about duckweed and.
No, the ones that are like cloned. They're grown in what do you call them?
Media, gel media.
There's a word for these kind of plants. I can't think of it.
Yeah,
It's
like these right here.
No.
Like it's an auger.
yeah.
They're like
Yes, it's in this.
Here, Dee, I'll blow you up.
You show me that's top fin, which is what? That's a PetSmart.
PetSmart. But they got this gel squishy stuff that keeps them wet in that bag. But when you tear this apart, you pay like $10 for this whole bag, but you can get 20, 30 plants out of the same bag.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone to PetSmart in Canada.
Tissue culture. Thank you, Glass Box.
Yes.
Tissue culture.
Yes, that's it.
Red Lobster sells it too.
And I just learned how to keep these things alive recently. So I used to buy them, and then I was just wasting my money. But you can take me back down, Bob.
Oh, look at you, Dee Dee. I'm a chef there. And it's one of the benefits.
So how deep do you figure you need your ponds to be an overwinter fish up there?
Well, I wouldn't, if they were just Shabumka goldfish, I wouldn't worry if they were 3 feet deep to be fine. But as the koi get bigger and bigger, they displace more water. So, right now, the main pond is only 4 feet at the deep end. So they go down to the bottom and the deepest spot. And now that they're, yay deep or yay thick, they're, displacing a foot of water. So
Okay.
now there's below the frost line is the warmest spot, so the ground's heating it.
Yeah.
And the higher you go, the colder it gets,
Mm-hmm.
which is reversed in the summer. But they can't get away from the cold, and then they get sick and they die. So that's why I've got to go a bit deeper. Plus, that liner is 25 years old.
Yeah, I bet.
It's
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
time. It's time. It's going to be a nightmare to take out.
So do you have to drain any of your ponds in the wintertime, or are they pretty much all going to be okay?
The only ones I'll drain is the one where I've got my shabunkins in.
Right.
I'll drain that one, or I'll probably drain it just to get the fish out. And the other one with the shabunkins, and I'll drain those. Any of the microponds, I'll drain them and dump them and put them upside down. But all the main ponds and the other, like my bog ponds, I won't drain. I'll just let them freeze solid. Like some of them near where my filters are, that's only 3-4 inches deep. So when I let the water run out, they're only sitting in an inch of water. That's going to freeze solid. But
Yeah.
they come back year after year after year, so I don't worry about them at all.
Okay.
Chewy says there's a company in Canada that does the tissue cultures.
Okay.
So, and
Oh, Ken Lee's in the chat. Hey, Ken Lee.
when you dump your ponds and flip them over the next year, how do you jump start them to get the cycle going?
Again, I use sponge filters.
Mhm.
So
Okay, so
I'll take those same sponges, put them outside, and get them going. Plus, I'll pull a bit of water from the ponds and put it in there, and then I'll let it run for a week or two. And then I've never had an issue.
Yeah, I don't have an issue either with that one. Not with my outside ponds. I guess because there's so much buildup.
Yeah. Now I will drain the main pond every 3 or 4 years to give it a good clean.
Wow.
But like our water is so stupid expensive here, and I can't understand why, because it tastes like crud.
Are you well water or?
No, we're city water.
I think the worse it tastes, the more it costs.
I was going to ask if you collect rainwater, but I think your whole backyard collects rainwater.
Well, I have 3 rain barrels on the go,
Okay.
but I mainly use those to water the plants on the side of the house.
Okay.
Along with, there is one rain barrel that collects, and that water goes directly into the bog filter. So
Oh, okay.
Now your bigger ponds, do you do anything to like keep an air, like an opening in the top, or do you let them freeze over solid?
no, those I have to keep open.
Yeah, that's
And
what I
I'll
was,
just
I was
a
thinking.
little
Yeah.
wee round hole just to keep.
Yeah, I used to keep like a bucket in mine just to keep it from icing all the way over the top.
Somebody asked in the chat, how big do your shabunkins get?
Yeah.
They'll get to be about like with the fin or without the long tail or just the whole body itself.
I would give both answers.
Some of the fins are like 4 inches long on them now. Though they should get up to easy a foot.
Wow. Wow.
Those are goldfish,
Nice.
yeah? Are those goldfish?
Yeah.
I didn't realize they got that big.
Yep.
I have a couple goldfish in my pond that are bigger than my koi.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They just don't stop growing. They just
Yeah.
Well,
They're
you know,
huge.
they're a long-lived species too. Like, there's no reason you can't get, 12 to 18 years out of a goldfish.
Wow.
Do people eat goldfish?
I hope not.
Not me, but they're a carp, right? So
Yeah.
people eat carp. Again, not me, because I know what they eat.
They
Wow.
do taste nasty. Are all of those ponds, are all of those liners? I know the microponds are not, but
Yeah, they're all lined.
I think
Yeah,
I'm going to binge watch your channel for a little bit. I saw you had a
I
nice
know.
meditation by the pond, and I saw a couple of really good. I'm just going to set you on continuous play.
I know. Me too. I just subscribed.
Yep.
He's got some
Appreciate
great videos.
Yeah, guys, if you're not subscribed to Stubbs Aquatics, check them out. The link is in the chat.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
And
Well, Nick-
Stubbs, did you or Chris, did you dig all your ponds out yourself?
Yes,
Okay. That's
we
all.
did everything ourselves. Save a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
It's pickaxe, shovel. Now, you invite a couple friends and buy a case of beer or two, but yes.
There you go. And some pizza and
Yeah,
party.
pizza and beer do a lot of work for you.
There you go.
Yep, it does. Especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you started 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, now it's like a case of Bengay.
yeah. I started to say, dang, you must be older than
Yeah.
me.
Aspirin and Bengay.
Yeah, and you have to give them subscription to a massage therapist.
Yeah, like a real massage, DD.
Yes, that kind. That's exactly the kind I'm talking about.
Okay.
See, I don't need the beer, but my friends give me pizza. I'll dig day and night. I'll dig ponds day and night.
Right.
That's how we used to build horse barns. Everybody would go help this person, and
Yep.
they'd buy us, lunch. And normally it didn't have beer because most of the group didn't drink beer, but they would have had somebody wanted it. But it was pizzas,
Yeah.
and so you built your barns for pizzas, basically.
Yep.
No cost for labor.
That's cool.
And you repay the favor too, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. You help them, they help you, and
Yep.
you just kind of migrate in the circle.
Yeah, we did.
You
the
learn a
same
lot,
thing
too.
with the decks. Like we
Steve,
built all the decks and the bunkie, and had a lot of fun doing it.
Stephen
Yeah.
Truth Seeker says, do goldfish come from, Jesus, the British common or Crucian carp?
Bresian carp, the common goldfish are.
How do you pronounce that?
Christian?
Crucian.
And then the koi come from the common carp,
Okay.
Huh.
but you can interbreed them. I've never done it, but you can
Really?
interbreed the two carp species.
Marty, it may be further up. I know it's in the description too. I did put it in there. So, but Chewy or one of the other mods.
Why are we always yelling? Put it in there.
Yeah,
What
Yeah.
does she want?
it's
Stuff-
further up.
Okay.
Channel link.
Yeah, Grasshopper got it.
Grasshoppers on it.
I think Grasshopper's main name is Sam because I saw people calling him Sam. So I'll get a lot of fun out of the Sam I Am Dr. Seuss stuff with him.
The plot thickens.
Right. What
Yeah.
advice? What one thing, Chris, would you tell people that are, because I've played with the idea for 2 years now, whether to put it in the ground or to put it on I've got a big deck, a big continuous deck, 2 levels, whether to build it onto the deck. It's well supported. But what advice would you give people that are thinking about putting a pond in?
I would have to ask you, in order to give that advice, whereabouts you live. If you're in a northern climate, it's got to be in the ground. Otherwise, it's going to freeze solid.
Yeah.
And then if you think you want it this big, double it.
Make it bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think you want a 10 by 10, make it a 20 by 20.
So
Yeah,
size
so-
matters.
So
Size
true.
does matter.
Well, I'm in
That
Southeast
would
Tennessee.
suffer.
Southeast Tennessee, the weather here is like North Florida, basically. So
Yeah, your winters aren't bad at all. So
mm-mm,
you
not
could get
bad.
away with a raised pond. But a raised pond is like an aquarium to me.
Yeah.
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 I like to see, the birds come and drink out of the water, and when you have running water, certain birds will only drink out of running water and others will only drink out of the calm water. And you see all the other, animals and the chipmunks and the squirrels and everything else coming by. It just draws everything in.
I'm
Yeah.
scared to bury mine because of water moccasins and stuff around here. So we've got a swamp right out behind us, so
Oh,
I'm scared. Everything mine, most of it is up on top of the deck in a 100-gallon tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could easily do that where you are.
And
You
I've
have
never
this-
kept stuff over winter, but this year I'm going to try it.
You have the same weather I do, Dee Dee, I think. Maybe a little cooler.
Dee Dee, what are you going to keep outside this winter? Or
I've
try?
got the White Mountain minnow
White Mountain.
thingies.
Yeah, they'll
And-
take temperatures down into the low 40s.
And I'm going to buy one of those Tetra Pond things that keeps it from dropping below 40.
wow.
And also have a tub of whatever kind of fish I dug out of a puddle out back in the woods before it dried up. And they're living life in that 40-gallon. I've got bunches and bunches and bunches of them, but I'm going to let them just live in a little deep puddle. I think they'll stay out there too. But I'm bringing my goldfish in only because I want to look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's half the
I want
fun,
to
right?
see them. They're pretty. You know,
Are
I haven't
they,
seen them
koi?
since I put them in. No, they're arandas.
I mean, killie. I said koi. I mean, no, the ones you dug up and brought in. Are they killie?
I don't know.
In
I
true.
just caught 3, and now I bet there's about 40 in there right now.
Yeah, I sound like Gambusia maybe.
Yeah. Mine overwinter really nice. And I'm in Pennsylvania.
But we don't have mosquito problems this year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's because they're all here.
How is that?
Well, and somebody's video or live stream one just said, that's a way to deter the mama mosquitoes go lay their eggs in that water that you give them. But guess what eats them? The fish in there.
The fish will eat them, but
So they don't
unfortunately,
get to come out.
your neighbor that has a bucket of water or a rain
Yeah.
barrel
Yeah.
that they're all breeding in and no one's eating them, they're coming to visit you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
here.
we're not having anything, so apparently we got lucky this year.
They outsmarted me this year on one of my grow out tanks. It's just for snails on a rack. I found a ton of mosquito larvae swimming in that, and I'm like, okay, fish food, free fish food. So I netted them out and fed them to the fish.
Oh,
Never-
I'm scared to bring anything in.
Goldfish and put them in the tank and watch.
I
them.
didn't bring them in.
Hour.
I didn't. Sorry, Susie. I didn't bring them in. I just found them in there.
Yeah.
Mosquito
I know, but-
outsmarted me. Yeah.
They're getting in
Oh,
somehow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lovely
Maybe.
butter.
Probably when I have the door open 5 minutes begging the dogs to come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Verily says, Casey says, all the mosquitoes are on her porch in Florida.
Mine too.
I thought they're all up here in the wooded area.
Shoot.
Because you can't walk in there without them carrying out.
I'll try to take this GoPro out there and get a picture of whatever fish I caught.
Oh, cool.
Let's see,
When my
Put it up
dad came
somehow.
from California to visit me in Florida, he said the mosquitoes here are big enough to stand flat-footed and breed a turkey, and he's right. They are big in Florida. They are, and mean.
That's funny.
Well, they
Oh,
get
yeah.
pretty big here in what they call down east, which is very, if you run off of Cedar Island, you'll run off the face of the earth, literally. But they get between close to the size of a daggone hummingbird. There's some big ones.
And then you guys get those little ones that could fly in by your screens and get in there.
Oh, yeah. All right, somebody's giving me the time. I won't say who it is, but the party's over. No, I'm teasing. They have to let me know, Chris, or I'll just go on forever, and especially with something that's interesting.
We gotta have Stubbs back again.
I agree. And what I would like to do is when you bring stuff in 2 or 3 months, maybe do that. See
Would
the
love
fish
to.
tanks, do the fish tanks and stuff.
Changing out the fish room again. So, yeah, I would love to be back on.
Awesome. You were an awesome guest. Didn't have a dull or a quiet moment.
Nope.
It's great. All right. Thank you, sir, for coming on. And
Thanks, everyone, and thank you for all your kindness. It's very appreciated, and really appreciate it. And it's been really good meeting you all, and hope to have lots of conversations with you guys later.
I hope so. That's what it's all about, right?
Yep.
And
It's all about
thank
supporting
you.
each other, and trying to help each other out, and not push anyone down.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly.
That's where I am. So
I hope you took that to heart, Pam. But thank you. One last dig, right?
why not?
Exactly. Thank you, panel, for awesome. I always, if I remember, I always thank the panel privately afterwards. So, but thank you guys. Really an awesome panel. Great questions. And also in the chat, great questions. The moderators did an awesome job. So thank you guys. I don't see any link to anybody. Is anybody else streaming after us or started
It should
streaming?
be
Or
Kenny Flanagan.
Danica is? Okay. All right. If anybody wants to put the link out there, that would be awesome. I'm not allowed to touch buttons. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
Night, everybody.
See you
Good night.
next week.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Love y'all. Thanks for coming.